Welcome to New York Studios, where you can watch us make the news. Today I'm with two young experts from Africa and from Latin America who are going to explain how the World Bank is working with young people and entrepreneurs to bring more development to the world and to improve the lives of millions. So, Andrea, could you tell me a little bit about what you're doing in Brussels?
We are here in Brussels. We were invited by the World Bank to attend the Brussels Forum and the World Professional Summit organized by the German Marshall Fund. The idea of having young professionals and practitioners from Africa and Latin America was to increase the debate, the discussions about the expansion of the transatlantic relations and bringing some development perspectives to that discussion that is sometimes very much concentrated between the relations of the US and Europe. So we were trying to bring our experiences and building with our background the possibilities of increasing the linkages between those countries and the transatlantic relations.
Okay. Medi, what has been your experience of attending the forum and meeting people, discussing with them? Was they interested in your views?
Yeah, it has been a very, very enriching experience, meeting people within the same age bracket, doing different things, but all aiming at bringing about change in the respective communities where we come from. The interactions have been so fulfilling, but also the fact that we've had a chance to bring a voice, like for example, my perspective, an African voice to this basically Europe and American partnership, and also trying to engage them from our own point of view and how the transatlantic relationship work or programs or projects basically directly influence or maybe may affect work in Africa has been something that has been of interest to me.
I'll be very interested to see what your core message that you've been telling people is, because from my experience of Africa, it's a continent of entrepreneurs, it's a continent of people who are very practical and very gifted in their thinking, who have frankly not been consulted enough in the past.
For me, the main message has been that we actually have the same challenges throughout the world, including like in the US, in Europe, and in Africa, but probably we just need to learn from each other on how we can use different interventions to counteract these challenges. We had a topic, for example, around unemployment, and the main discussion was about the 30% unemployment or 20% in different European capitals, but then it's about 80% in Uganda, and probably someone was saying in Zimbabwe it's about 90%, and I'm like, so this is a common problem we all have, and probably we need to holistically think through alternatives on how best we can find interventions to get young people to work and then gainfully employed, and probably reduce on crime rates, on all the effects of unemployment and probably underemployment.
Brazil also, your country, is also having the same sort of problems. Tremendously high unemployment rates, you've got a real ghettoization, you've got the huge shanty towns, slums developing up. How are you going to get people out of this? How do you see the solutions?
Actually, in Brazil now we have a scenario of like a country that is growing, that can be seen as a very rich country, but our main problem is inequality. And when we talk about inequality, we're talking directly about young people that don't have the opportunity to engage in networks that could provide them space and better job opportunities, better political participation. So I think the main challenge in Brazil today to fight inequality, that put people in those positions where they can access the wealthness that the country is creating, is to put those, to bring information to those people, especially those young people, and the opportunity of accessing those positions that years ago were not even in their landscape of possibilities. So as a growing country, as a country that is trying to grow in a more equal way, that's our main challenge today, how we provide good opportunities to especially to youth and those marginalized populations to rise together with Brazil, like the whole country as a whole.
So, I mean, the problems that Andrea is discussing are the problems that you're discussing, that are the problems Europeans are discussing, which are the problems that America is discussing. So how do we move forward? How do we move from talking to doing, to actually making a change in the world?
I think we should use different approaches. First of all, we have to get the young people themselves directly involved in one, defining the solutions to the problems they are facing, but also getting them to the table where policies and programs are being made. One, to like either entrepreneurial related programs, but also mainstream national programs, so that they will feel involved, one, but also they will over time start to think through how best they can develop the ideas they have. The challenge lies in getting people who are not young, defining alternatives for the young, and in the long run, probably you come up with an initiative, but they don't really identify with it. And so it means they can't effectively own it and be part of it. So for me, I think from all levels, that policy formulation, policy implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and then that continuous learning process, young people have to be part of it all, and then we can meaningfully help them and all be part of their lives, and they become part of the team that solves the problem, which I think this forum has really done so well.
I mean, it's very interesting that you're taking something very positive from this, because it's quite clear that the voice of young people has been marginalised. The voice of, as it were, marginalised people in these communities have also been marginalised. Do you think that people are being polite to you, or do you think they're actually really listening to you?
I think they are really listening, but at the same time, people usually don't connect with the discussion. So I think one of the main reasons that we are here and that we had the Young Professional Summit, and the fact that the Young Professional Summit was also connected with the Brussels Forum, is that we get the idea of the youth engaging in those major global problems in a more concrete way. We were bringing our experiences not only as young people from Africa, from Latin America, but from Europe and from the United States of America. And I think that made our point much more clear and more concrete to those attending the forum where we were. As Medi said, we were trying to talk with people that are not experiencing that were not experiencing that reality, but at least I think we could raise our point very concretely and with a lot of possible feedback in the future. Like, that's what we hope to have it.
Okay. Well, if this has been a good start for everyone, we need to work is where do we build on this? Where do we go next? How can we increase the involvement of the global population in global problems and global solutions? How do we do that? What's the next step?
I think first of all, those of us who have had this opportunity, is the first thing we have to do is strengthening this network, and then trying to find out how we are going to share these experiences with our peers when we go back to our respective countries. I think all of us are probably lucky that we have, for example, World Bank country offices. So for me, I've already been thinking through, how do I engage the country office in Uganda? How do I get to see young people more involved? Because basically the country office understands the country context better. But also, how do we get young people into groups that can help them think through the challenges, but also engage national and international development for us. There's this 2015 post-2015 agenda. How do they get their voice into it? But again, when you look at it from the bigger picture of 2015, and then you don't narrow it down into national development plans that arise from, let's say, the MDGs and the post-2015 agenda, and then how you map out what is youthful about those programs and the agenda, then how does that translate into meaningful entrepreneurial opportunities, but also development opportunities, those are the things that I think for us as a team or as a group in collaboration with the World Bank, we can take over and continuously ponder about and define alternatives and strategies.
So you've clearly been inspired by your meetings here and being taken seriously and having a voice here.
Sure.
And you're now seeing that your duty is to go back and make sure that other people get their voice as well.
Sure.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you're hopeful?
Very
Yeah,
hopeful.
a lot.
Well, we hear a lot about the problems of the world, and there are many people of a certain age often kind of look back on youth with a mixture of being patronising or perhaps of a view that they don't quite understand things. What we clearly see with these young people and the many others that the World Bank has formed is that these people are very articulate, they're very intelligent, and they're also part of a generation that is more connected and more widely understanding the world than any generation that's ahead. It's quite clear to most people that if you want to bring about development to the world, you've got to include the people who you're trying to develop. You've also got to bring in this generation of people who are the future and are better prepared for the future than, for example, my generation is. So I'd like to thank you both for coming along and discussing your experiences here. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavours, and please keep in touch and let us know how you all get on.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.